Hello and welcome to this demo. Today we're going to talk about Centrify's authentication profiles. Authentication profiles have been available since September in the Centrify Identity platform. First and foremost, let's rediscuss the experience of the end user. If the user is logged in on-premise, already authenticated by Active Directory, for example, in the context of an Active Directory user, they will get SSO. For example, if they need access to the user portal, they can access their regular browser, and their experience is going to be seamless access because the assumption here is that you're in a secure environment inside premises, right? And you should get blanket access to that, right? But authentication profiles come into play when you have different criteria. For example, the end user may be accessing a system outside the corporate IP range, or may be accessing from a client that is unknown, perhaps a browser that it doesn't have an identity cookie. This is the typical experience of the end user, right? I'm going to go ahead and paste. I'm going to use this with a single user, Diana. This is a different browser here with Chrome. So my sequence from outside is going to be like this. I'm going to put in my username, right? And notice that there's two things that are being asked of me at the same time. One is my password, and the other one is the mobile authenticator, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. In this case, you can see my phone on the left. I'm going to get the notification that there's a new request coming from that location. I can approve it, and the RESTful API is going to take care of the rest, right? So I could have put in the OTP code. I could have been sent an email link. I could have been placed a phone call or an SMS. However, this sequence opens itself to an interesting problem. What if somebody is able to figure out somebody's email address, right? And they attack the account, trying to find out the password, and they lock out the Active Directory account, right? So by default, typically after 5 times, the user's account is going to get locked, right? So Centrify has worked with one of their customers to implement something called authentication profiles. What you see is that in the settings page, now you're going to have authentication profiles, right? But also in the policy side, you're going to have under your default policy, or the policy that applies to the role, you're going to have this login authentication. By default, the login authentication policy controls are enabled, but most likely you got something that was inherited from what you had before. You have the ability to change that sequence. For example, now I can, instead of having a sequence in which somebody gets asked for the password and mobile authentication or multi-factor at the same time, you can have a different set of rules. For example, what I've done in my environment is that I have an authentication profile that will prompt for multi-factor first, and then it will prompt the user for the password. What that's going to do is going to protect the user from, somebody malicious that may want to lock out their account, or effectively do a denial of service account on the user account. So notice in here, I've enabled several challenges. Now I have, the challenge first is going to be any multi-factor that I have enabled, and the second factor is going to be the password, right? So I'm just going to quickly make a quick change here. I'm going to go back to the policy. I'm going to go back to account security policies, login authentication, and instead I'm going to delete that. So when I have no identity cookie, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to add a rule. Notice that you have rules in terms of IP addresses or conditions. So in here, no identity cookie. If it's not present, I'm going to use the MFA then password profile, right? So the behavior is going to be completely different. So now that after I save that, I'm gonna launch Chrome again. So and I'm gonna launch a new incognito window because we want to do that. Make sure that there's no cookie. So let's go ahead and try again. Notice how the sequence is going to change now. So same user, So when you don't go incognito, there's no cookie. So it's an unknown client. So notice now I'm being prompted first for the multi-factor that I have enabled. So I'm going to do mobile authenticator again. Or I can let's just do we can actually do an SMS as well, but let's just do the mobile authenticator. We have it in the screen in here. So I'm getting that. I'm going to go ahead and approve it. Now, the next gate is going to be the password. So effectively what we've done is that we protected the user, and even if the user forgot the password, right, they need to go past the first gate. So now the user can log in, and then we have effectively, by using Centrify Authentication Profiles, improved the security posture of your SaaS applications. And I'm hoping that this actually helped you.